We've had Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door for over a week now, and wow, that's actually really surreal. So it's time we really start talking about the game. Ahoy folks, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I am your host Tris, and I am once again joined by our very special guest, MuzYoshi, our fellow Paper Mario fanatic.
Hi.
So we've both beaten the game a little while ago at this point, and I think and I think we clearly both have a lot of things to say about it. So Muz, let's start with you. After over a week spent with this game, how are you feeling about it now?
I think it is a 9.8 out of 10.
Ooh, okay. Starting with numbers,
like,
interesting.
If you're just judging it like as a remake, like comparing it to the original, that's how I would rank it.
Right.
No, it's 10 out of 10.
Right. No, absolutely. For me, it's definitely like right up there. Like, I love this in the original equally. I understand why someone would want to go back to the original over this, but like I absolutely love what this brought. And personally, it's on my Switch. I can play this whenever now. It's so much easier.
Yep. Very easy to just like whip out whenever you wanna. Well, in my case, like whenever I'm testing something, like when I needed to time something earlier, I was like, oh, okay, I'll just like get it out of my handheld, time it real quick.
No, exactly.
I don't have to set anything up. It's really nice.
So there's a lot to break down into that, though. Like with your 9.8 out of 10 and my like just absolutely loving this. There's a lot to break down into that. So let's start with probably one of the biggest points of conversation about this game is the changes. The fact that there's been changes, quality of life improvements, for example. Like there's good and so bad. So where do you want to start on that?
Well, on the top of my list is things I liked, so I guess we can start with that.
Yeah, that works.
I guess we can just like start with the obvious, which is something we talked about last time: the expressions, the voice blips, and the music.
Absolutely.
Three very, very big things that just you wouldn't think it adds so much, but it really does.
It really does.
It goes a long way, and it makes you feel so much more immersed.
It really does.
I don't know. It just like it was so charming to me, and going through and seeing all of these characters in like a new light or from a new angle, like Grubber, for example. When I saw his backstory, I was like, oh my god. Like, what the hell?
It teaches a lot about like the ideas behind these characters, the way they express themselves, but also like the rest of their designs, like the back sprites, like people realizing Vivian has only like the one swirl on the back.
Oh my god, dude,
like...
dude, no way. The day I found out what Vivian looks like from the back was the same day I had like drawn something of her, and I'd drawn it incorrectly, and I was like, what?
Wow.
No way.
That's really funny, actually.
Shifted my entire worldview. Thanks, I guess.
But like, it really does a lot though. Like the way all the characters are so expressive, and the way every character has so much more than just your basic idle and talking, and maybe like the occasional extra special sprite. Like everyone has so much to it now.
It makes it feel
so much charm
lively.
went into it. Yeah, really lively.
It really makes the world feel lived in to me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And the music helps with that too. The fact that like pretty much every instance of a song has a variation to it.
I know, it's crazy.
It's
on
beautiful,
that note,
actually.
I have it all caps in my notes here. Riverside's battle theme ?
Yeah,
so good.
The chapter 6 battle theme. I was not ready for that. That surprised me so much, and it's probably one of my favorite songs in the game, honestly.
Same.
It's so good.
For like no reason. You hear it like 6 times total.
Yeah, really. You hear it exclusively there. Same with like the chapter 7 battle themes, where like you hear a little bit on the moon and a little bit in the snow. Like not much.
Like they didn't have to go that far.
No. It's kind of great, honestly, but it really shows just how much they put into it all. I mean, even the very beginning of the game, you have that like moment playing the Paper Mario 64 like title theme that only plays when Parakarry's talking. So if you skip that dialogue, you have to wait till post-game sound test to hear the whole thing.
Well, you can go talk to Bo as well, and she plays it as well when you talk to her.
Right.
I've seen on YouTube that that's actually like a remix of that remix, which I'm not entirely sure if that's true or not, but that's what YouTube told me, so that's what I'm telling you. Sorry if I'm wrong.
We'll have to find that
I
out.
love spreading
But, like,
misinformation.
But I think it's so special though. Like Paper Mario: The Origami King had a lovely soundtrack with so much to it, and the fact that they brought that to this, and it wasn't just, oh, let's remix a bunch of songs, let's add a couple variations. Like, every song has so much to it. Every battle theme has a thinking version. Every event battle theme has a different version depending on what the event is, which is shocking. It's not the generic event battle music.
And they all got extended too.
Yep. Most songs in this game got extended. There's like whole new sections of most songs, it feels like.
I don't know if I can like accurately describe how I feel hearing this song that I've been hearing for like 20 years and hearing like an official new rendition with like stuff added onto it. It just like, it actually blows my mind.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's so weird, right? Because like so many other like remakes and remasters don't do that. They maybe like make the audio quality a bit better or maybe add a couple new songs, but this let like all out on that front. And one that stands out to me that I didn't expect to get, because normally like you go to an area, you hear its music, right? The harbor theme for Rogueport that only appears after completing chapter 5 also really surprised me, and that's such a good remix.
I know, I agree completely, but like, why?
Yeah, exactly. But that goes for so
crazy.
much of this. There's so many charming things, especially with the music and the visuals, that they didn't have to do, that they chose to do. That really makes it feel like it's more than just a remake of this game. It's like they gave it the full care and attention of a full-blown new game.
That it deserved.
Yep.
And not even just all of that, but there's so many quality of life changes too. Like, for example, you can pick up any items that count as recipes and it gets added to your recipe page. So like, for example, if you sleep in the Far Outpost Inn and pick up the space food that's on the table, it counts towards the recipe completion even though you didn't cook it. And it's like, it's such a small thing, but it saves so much time in the long run.
It does.
Because there are a handful.
There's quite a few. I've cooked every recipe and it took quite some time. Although,
oh god, dude, it took me like 4 or 5 hours.
It definitely took a while, but it definitely felt much faster than it did in the original game, thanks to things like the pipe zone.
Fake.
I've done it a couple times, mostly just because I don't like having like the menu like with gaps in it. But
yeah, that's very fair.
It felt much better to do this time around because of things like the pipe zone and how quickly and easily you can get back to each area.
Yeah,
and I know
like they kind of promote it, right?
Exactly. Like I know the recipes is like it's such a later use of it, and probably the best use of it is like the General White quest, which is like nothing now.
I know, yeah. I mean, honestly, like the recipes are kind of a meme anyway. Like you just do it to get 100%. Half of the things you cook aren't even useful anyways.
No, they really aren't.
Most of them suck, to be honest. But yeah, there's so much though. Like even something as small as being able to jump over the railings. I don't know if you saw my video. But,
yeah,
like, I did a video of me just jumping over a ton of like railings and stuff, and like. I don't know, like so many people were blown away because when you get really used to playing the original and then you see that you can suddenly jump over things that you couldn't jump over before, I don't know how I can like explain to you being you who's watching right now, how it feels. It's crazy. And,
it changes up a lot, honestly, because it's everything you thought you knew about the game. They like kind of turn it on its head, and they give you whole new ways to experience it. And I'm sure speedrunning wise, that changes a lot too, because it even if it's just a little thing, that adds up.
Yeah, some of them actually do save like quite a lot of time. Like I'm not gonna get too like far into the speedrunning stuff because it's probably not relevant to a lot of people. But like for example, in outside the Palace of Shadow Tower, I'm gonna call it, as they did. You can skip the second Shadow Sirens fight there if you jump over the railing. Yeah,
oh my gosh,
skip it entirely. It's so dumb. But anyway, on that note, by the way, and talking about like animations and stuff. All of the enemies have unique animations when you get hit by stage hazards. And so can someone please, pretty please, record every unique laughing animation for Dupless when he's mimicking your partners in that fight? I need to see it so bad. I want to see Koops laughing at you.
Oh my gosh.
You get hit by a stage hazard.
Can you imagine how long that must take to like set that up too? Because you have to like try to make sure a stage hazard happens.
One of you out there will do it, and I'll give you like a retweet.
I'll be happy to see it. I would be very happy to see that. I think that'd be really cool to get them all.
like, that's just another example of like they didn't have to give every single enemy in the game a unique animation for something that like 90% of the time you're not even gonna see.
Exactly. Like you're not really gonna see it, but they went out of the way to do it. And one other way characters all have life now too is kind of similar to the idea of like the music and the animations keeping everyone feel lived in. They all have voices now, and we talked a little bit about this in our last discussion about how hyped we were at the fact that they had voices at all. But some of them are just kind of incredible, to be honest.
I know, dude. Oh my god, I was losing my mind at like some of them, like Dupless, for example. Oh my god, and Flavio, of course, is a funny one as well.
I love how Flavio has two. He has his normal voice, which is actually like fake. Him putting on a bit of a deeper and more robust voice, and then when he's scared, you hear like the higher pitch and all. Like it's great. It's such a good
They did that for
attention
the
to detail.
train conductor too.
Yes.
He's getting scared by the small. So, yeah, it's so good.
It's such a good touch. It adds so much. It's very silly for some of them. Like hearing Luigi and Peach clearly be derived in their voice clips will always be a little strange, but it's so good.
It just really just add a lot to scenes where there's a lot of text and you're not really like doing much, and you know it's kind of monotonous just reading. It's nice to actually have a voice to some of these characters that I never expected to ever get anything like that, and like a lot of people have been saying to me recently that TTYD is one of the most replayable games they've ever played.
Yeah.
And I find that quite interesting, but I also agree. And like having all of these unique animations and voices and new stuff to look at and do, like that really adds to that as well.
It does, because like you can do a whole new run and do some sort of like changes with how you balanced out like your level ups, but also like just which partner you have out for so many cutscenes.
Yeah.
And it feels a bit different through it all that way.
Yeah. And again, just like so many quality of life changes too. Like, I did ask some people what they would want me to bring up as talking points, and there are a couple like the troubles now tell you if they're going to give you rewards like the parlor cards for the minigames,
which is helpful.
They also changed one of Grubba's conditions in Chapter 3 from don't attack to specifically don't deal damage, and that means that in the original, super guards didn't actually count as an attack. But now they do.
Now they do,
because you're dealing damage. That's the condition now. But then things like Gale Force and Fright Masks actually don't deal damage, so you can still fulfill the condition.
Yep.
It's really interesting.
That is interesting.
They went out of their way to sort of clarify that.
I mean, the Glitzman in general feels so updated too. Like they did so much.
It got such a glow up. It got such a glow up. Oh my god. I could go nuts over this, but like that last cutscene, oh my god, all of the stuff they did to it, so it just I don't know how to quantify like how I feel.
Seeing this amount of love and care put into it, like in every moment, is what like it makes it captures the magic of playing it for the first time again somehow.
Definitely does.
And
I was
it's
just so
beautiful.
Enthralled the whole time. It really did feel like I'm just like playing a new game, and you know, I think speaking of new games on Paper Mario, I want to get into that a little bit later, maybe near the end.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of thoughts on that. But I also wanted to ask you what your thoughts were on some of the balancing changes they made.
Like power bounce?
So power bounce is a weird case because it does seem kind of deliberate, right? So if anyone here doesn't know, the power bounce frame values, or like however they quantify how power bounce works, got changed. So let's assume for a second you don't have any simplifiers on, which is a badge that gives you more time to perform certain action commands. For one bounce you get 8 frames, for 2 bounces you get another 8 frames, for the third bounce you have 6 frames, and then for the fourth bounce you have 1 frame. So if you were messing up your power bounces, now you know why.
Yeah.
It's not you.
It's not you.
And then if you have 3 simplifiers on, which by the way is impossible, it moves the 4th frame, like 1 frame bounce, to the 5th frame. So now it's 16 frames, 14, 12, 10, 1, and then it goes to 8, 8, 6, 1. It's so dumb.
Ridiculous.
I don't know why.
It does feel intentional to try to prevent what people originally did of just, let me just power bounce the entire fight away. But
it's just like
it is ridiculous.
Really, really strict though, and. Yeah, I don't know. And then Power Rushes also cost 100 coins now. Or 100 piano tokens, sorry, not coins. 300 coins if you want to do the math.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have done a lot of like balance changes there. And then also another one is running away doesn't lose coins anymore.
Yeah.
And before I explain my thoughts on it, what are your thoughts?
I don't run from battles that much, so it didn't really come up to me, but I do find it interesting that despite them making the entire ecosystem in this game capped at like way more, like a whole extra digit, instead of 999, now it's 9,999.
Yeah.
The fact that now they also made it so you don't lose coins as often is kind of funny to me.
It is quite funny. But did you know they actually balanced the running away in a different way instead? They made it so that if you run away back to back with no victories between them, it actually makes the runaway action command much harder. So you might have noticed that when you're running away from multiple battles all at once, like it becomes harder and harder to run.
I see.
Like it gets harder to fill the gauge.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I see.
If anyone encountered that and was kind of wondering, like, wow, why is it so hard to run away all of a sudden? That's why.
They're punishing
you gotta
for doing
win some battles.
Yeah. Mario's no coward.
Yeah.
No, that's really interesting, because it's definitely like clear that they put time into... They didn't just adapt the battle one-to-one. Like, they clearly put time into redesigning it, essentially. Capturing what was there originally, and then rebalancing a lot of it. Like, Powerlift, I think, is also a little bit different, because I know I, like, rarely used Powerlift in the original game.
Powerlift was buffed. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why they thought they needed to do that, but yeah.
I find myself using it so much in this game for like boss battles, like just like a power lift followed by like a spring jump late game, like that's really strong.
Easy 11, easy 22, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really strange, to say the least.
But it's kind of nice too, because it adds reason to check out both games, right? Like check out the original versus this one, because it's not 1-to-1. The whole balancing to it is different. So strategies that work in one won't necessarily work in the other.
The remake's definitely a lot easier. Like,
I
it's
do
not
agree.
even a question. Like, a big thing, a really big thing, I think this has been a bit of a controversy for a minute, is the retry system is a thing now.
Yeah.
So save blocks are kind of pointless. In a way, like...
Save blocks are for choosing to stop playing.
Yeah, pretty much. Which is really weird, considering they added more save blocks and also moved some. So like they moved one before the Shadows Free Shadows fight in Chapter 2. And like they added one in Twilight Trail, etc., etc. And it's just like, I don't know. I don't really care that much about it until you get to the pit, because if you die in the pit, you can just retry from that floor, and I think that removes and trivializes a lot of the challenge of the pit for a lot of people. I mean, of course, you can just like self-impose it and you know, make it so that you retry from lost save.
Yeah,
sure, you can do that.
You could self-impose it. I think it's also a case though of simply retrying won't always help. Like if your whole problem is you've used all of your items come like floor 80, retrying at that point isn't necessarily going to help you if you've been relying on items.
Kinda. I mean, another thing about that is that what happens, and this is actually going to be relevant in the speedrun, believe it or not, but if you lose a fight in the pit and then, you know, try again, you reload the fight itself and it changes the enemy loadouts. I don't know if you've noticed that. So what you can do in like the later floors, so like 92, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or not 9, sorry, just the first like 7. You can keep reloading the enemy loadouts until you get Amazy Daisies.
Yeah, I see.
Or, you know, like if you have a really, really bad enemy loadout and it's just like garbage, you can try again and change the loadout entirely. I can see why that's really annoying.
Yeah.
It is nice if you miss a tattle, though. So, like, it has its drawbacks. I don't know. I think it is.
I don't think it's inherently a bad thing. I think it's more of the challenge of the pit being changed there. It might be more so of an oversight on how it affects things. Because I think
it would be better if they made it so that you retry from the last 10th floor.
Yeah. I think
if
specifically in the pit, if it was to the last 10th floor. Because I imagine, like, if you're a kid, like, under 10 playing this and you've invested 2 hours in the Pit of 100 Trials and you die on floor 98, you're not going to want to go back in for at least a couple days.
I wouldn't even want to go back in.
No, exactly. So it's like, I think it's more so for that, like, for those kinds of players that just want to be able to make it through without feeling like they're like needing to maximize everything about their gameplay to make it through the gauntlet, or at least feel like they are. I think it's to help them, but I also understand for players like us or people that love this game, it is a change that kind of trivializes an element of the challenge.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I'm fine with it personally, it's fine, I don't really care that much, but I can sympathize with the feeling of it, like, oh, well, that's kind of lame, you know?
It's kind of lame, it could have been done better, but I guess it's also mad they didn't want to change what the condition is just for the pit.
Yeah. It kind of just, like, gives those veteran players the feeling of dying doesn't really mean anything anymore.
Yeah, so I can understand that. Out of curiosity, on this note, would you say there are any other changes to the game that might be more so to its detriment, or more so like on the negative side of things?
Yeah, I have one extremely big problem, and that's that the text is way too slow.
Yeah.
And you can't scroll it back to previous text boxes like you could in the original. I think that was them seeing what we were doing with that.
Yeah.
They were really mad. But no, yeah, I don't know. I think I genuinely really do believe that they should patch it and make it so that the text is at least faster, because it's unbearable.
You should still be able to like press the button until they let it finish out.
You can if you've already read the text.
That's what I'm saying. That should apply for all of it, to be honest.
I know for like a first time, maybe casual playthrough, even if it's not your first time, like it's fine. But then on subsequent playthroughs, when like you kind of just want to get through some of those really drawn out segments, it's rough. And then in speedrunning as well, it's also like that's going to add an extra couple hours.
Yeah.
It's just it's not good. I don't think it's a very good change at all.
I do think the text should definitely be adjusted like that to at least let you like kind of like skim through it.
Option.
Yeah, or at least give you the option. Like something in settings. That settings menu, by the way. I was shocked there's 2 options in that settings menu. What's the point of it?
What do you mean? What do you mean? You don't like having a whole menu dedicated to Rumble?
Or adjusting your brightness? Like exclusively that. That menu for me was exclusively go back to the title screen button.
Yeah,
that's it. Like that's where you could put an option for text
which
skipping.
is nice.
You could put an option for a chat log being enabled or not. Like it would be nice to have those in there. But
especially since it was in the original. It's just
exactly.
Like you get kind of like crabby when they take things away from you. Like we had it before. Why not?
Not even just in the original. I think majority of the Paper Mario games, even after this point, had some sort of like chat log function. So it's weird
I know at
that
least
it's not here.
the first 3 did. And yeah, another really big one is not being able to take multiple troubles at once.
I'm shocked they didn't.
Why? I'm so confused by this because they made like such an effort to glow up the trouble center. Like they have the whole like little NPC. And then they have the whole notes section.
Yep.
It blows my mind. Why? Why couldn't you pick what it was? It's so annoying. Like I get that the pipe zone is there now, so it's alleviated a little bit. But come on.
I have to imagine it's for pacing reasons. They didn't want people to take every single like trouble at once and then run through all of them in like an hour because they accepted them all. They have all the conditions, but.
I don't know, like anything, like just more than one at least, because like,
taking like 3 at once would have been nice.
Yeah, like running between Rogueport and Partially Heights over and over again for like all 3 troubles or 4 troubles that are there is just, I feel a little cheesed off, you know?
Yeah. Or it would have been nice to accept both troubles that bring you to Hooktail's castle at the same time as I got to go back there to get the up arrow. It would have been nice to have all of that available at once. Instead of back and forth several times.
Yeah, I would say that's my second biggest problem. The first one being the text, and then like there are other little things as well. Like this one's gonna like be a bit like I sound like a grouchy old guy, but certain name changes feel a little disjointed. But that might just be because I grew up with the original. So like the Free Shadows instead of the Shadow Sirens, Rogueport Underground instead of Rogueport Sewers, also Shadow Tower instead of Riddle Tower. Like, they just don't sound as cool.
Some of them definitely like Three Shadows definitely doesn't sound as good. It feels like it's missing.
They could have gone with Shadow Trio.
Yeah.
Oh, like
there's definitely some instances like the tower not being Riddle Tower. Riddle Tower I think was a much cooler name.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. There's definitely elements of it. Though, on a similar note to that, I'm glad all of the references to locations in Paper Mario 64 were properly restored.
Yeah,
because they were like all wrong
fixed it.
originally.
They definitely fixed a lot of the script issues. Did you know that they actually released a patch? I think it was on day one. They fixed like a grammar mistake in Creepy Steve. I think that's all they did.
Did they fix?
Which is hilarious.
Did they fix the mistake during the General White quest where the puny says, "Welcome to the great tree"?
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's hilarious. I don't know.
I had a video on General White, and like half the comments were like the.
Dude, no, I didn't notice that. It was something to do with the parrot. And her had some like weird grammar mistake.
Oh, that's funny.
That's really funny though.
Oh man.
The only other thing I have like written down that we haven't talked about that I know I hated was being interrupted by the alerts from the audience throwing things at you. Why?
So
it's so annoying.
I actually think that helps to a degree, because I know a few people when this remake first got announced. I had people talking to me about like accessibility changes they wanted, and that they felt in the original game those were not choreographed very well.
Yeah.
That it didn't draw your attention to it enough that it was too easy to miss. So I actually like that they did that. What bothers me is too often there's a bulky bomb in the way, and I still can't see what they're trying to throw at me. And I'm like, well, I'll take the chance, I guess. It might be good.
Sure, yeah.
I wish there was a different sound effect if it was a good thing or a bad thing, but...
Oh, true, yeah. Like, there are some ways I think they could have done it a little bit better, rather than, like, literally forcing you out of the menu just to look at the audience for a whole, like, 2 seconds. I think... Yeah. I agree with you. I think it's better in terms of, like, a casual accessibility thing, but like in practice it was just so often I was just constantly getting interrupted while I'm trying to make a move.
God forbid you accidentally like mess up an Ashen command. The X-Nauts are ready. Oh man, like I definitely think battle is an area where there's a level of slowdown that's noticeable, and I don't mean like frame drops. I mean like for example, when you level up, it sits through and like, okay, all this gets healed, all this gets healed, all this comes back.
And when you appeal as well, it
like
there's ages.
There's certain little waiting periods in the game that personally didn't bother me that much, but it's more of when you look back at it compared to the original, and it's like, huh, that's a little bit slower than it was before. Yeah,
it's just not like quite as snappy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree. And also there's the thing with excuse me, like when you're falling off ledges with Mario or Yoshi, it just completely eats your momentum.
Yep. Did it do that in the original? Because I was like, I don't remember it doing that.
No, it didn't. And, like, I don't mind it that much because it's just like different, and they give Yoshi a cute little animation. It's not like the biggest deal in the world or anything. I like that it's not just the same as the original.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like I've heard a lot of people who were playing it for the first time who complained about that because it just like feels bad to just be completely stopped during movement.
Especially if it's like on stairs.
Yeah, like the big stairs in Hooktail Castle, for example. It just like completely you have to literally jump over every step in order to get any speed. Or you could just jump over the railing. Yeah. Be swag.
I love that you can do that. Like, I really do love that you can just, like,
it's great.
take the big leaps. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. Was there anything else that you, like, didn't like? Let's say visually. Is there anything visually that you didn't like that they changed? Because I have one.
Mm-hmm. Oh man. Yeah, do yours. I gotta think about that.
This is gonna be a hot take, TM hashtag. The crystal stars. I hate how they look. They look so much less like actual stones now, which I think they're called star stones in the Japanese version. Like, they just look sort of lame. I understand the direction, but I don't dig it. They look like I could crush them with 3 fingers. I think they look a lot less mystical. Like, the stones were cool because they looked almost out of place. They looked like mystical objects. Like, maybe I'm just being really nitpicky, but did the stars really have to adhere to the paper aesthetic that urgently? They're supposed to be crystal stars, not foil stars. Anyway,
they look like they're made out of like a nice foil or something.
It's really not a big deal. It's really not a big deal. It's just something that like annoyed me.
No, that's definitely fair. I think that there are like little things that I feel like the art style pushed really well, but some instances probably could have been a bit better. Like, I feel like there's certain objects that are this is also just like a small grip. Like, I feel like there's objects that were turned into like 3D cardboard that didn't need to be. That I feel like make certain things feel like bigger or thicker than they needed to, and it doesn't quite make sense. If it was like a diorama, I feel like certain certain things could have easily been done with like this thing's like paper and it's like glued onto the wall or like glued onto the sort of like table. That would have been a little bit better than like this weird kind of like folded up cardboard for some of them that make it feel more like, I guess, distractingly present. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and then you go into the concept art and you see how hard they went on designing all the switches, and it's like, okay.
Like, it's cool.
Like,
it's cool.
Why are there so many like layers of the switches? Why did they have to go so hard with them? It's so weird.
That does make me think, with all the layers though, of the how hard they went on the GBA, the Game Boy Advance, in the Glitz Pit. How they had like all the layers for it and everything. That's actually pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice to see that. I'm not complaining about the switches, by the way. I was just like confused.
No, I think one thing, and it's like a small thing, like you can see on like my background here, like the sky of Rogueport, the clouds don't have eyes anymore. It's not like a big thing, but it's the idea of like Paper Mario always had that kind of like very cartoony kind of goofiness to it, where like a bunch of things had eyes, a bunch of things felt alive in it all, and in the remake they definitely toned down some of that.
Yeah,
which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just one of those, that was a charming thing I liked.
Yeah, that's very fair, very fair.
But yeah, I think it says a lot that majority of our complaints or like problems about it are either things that realistically they could fix in a patch, like tech stuff, or
text troubles,
small things that ultimately like didn't like impact our experience. Was more so just we're so familiar with the original game, it's something we noticed and went, all right.
Yeah, it's mostly just nitpicks, really.
Yeah, it really is just nitpicks, and I think that's like perfectly fine here.
It's genuinely like such a peak experience. If you've never played TTYD, my god, like there is no better time to pick up this game and try it out, because it's incredible. It's so incredible. It's one of the best like quality. It's one of the best crafted like video games I've played in so long. Like,
I completely agree.
I feel like the last time, and bear in mind I don't really care for this game that much, but the last time I felt this charmed and like the developers actually love the world and the characters they've created is Luigi's Mansion 3.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
Like, I feel like those devs, like, they really enjoyed making that game and going so hard on the animations and like all of that stuff. And yeah, I feel like you can feel it here too.
Yeah,
like, it's like they actually care.
They really do.
Shocker.
Yeah, right?
And speaking of actually caring, if you don't have anything else you want to add on to that.
No, go ahead.
I want to know like what your thoughts are for the next Paper Mario.
Ooh.
How do we go from here? Like I don't know if you've seen, but there have been surveys going around about TTYD, and I saw some like specifically dedicated to characters and partners, like what people want to see from them, whether we want totally unique designs that build on existing Mario characters, etc. Like, do you think this is solid evidence that they're treading back in the direction of TTYD style Paper Mario?
I think it's evidence that they are looking to see what people want, at least. I mean, we've also seen I saw like sales numbers just came out like yesterday, I think, of this game physical sales in Japan.
Yeah, dude, it's
already outpaced the Origami King originally.
It's nuts. It's crazy.
Is fantastic, and I think it already says a lot. So I think it's Nintendo looking at what their audience wants and trying to like zero in on the specifics to it all. I think to see a new Paper Mario game like this, if you asked me 2 years ago, we'd say, I don't know if we'll ever go back to this. But now, the fact that it feels so possible, I think it's a solid, like, at least 75% chance that, like, one of the next games does this. And the reason why I say that is because I wouldn't be surprised if we look at, like, how Nintendo's handling other series, like, let's do Mario Party, for example, right?
Sure.
Mario Party's had, most recently, Super Mario Party and Mario Party Superstars. Superstars being the very much, this is your classic Mario Party that you've wanted for so long, and going back to that. Whereas Super Mario Party's, like, the epitome of, like, we're trying new things and made something great out of it. I can kind of see them doing that with Paper Mario, of alternating a bit. Because we're already seeing now people that grew up with Sticker Star, Color Splash, Origami King saying, "Oh, like I'm loving TTYD, but I'll be a little disappointed if we don't get more like that."
Oh, really?
And I haven't
actually seen anyone saying that.
I can see almost like them alternating, like every other game, like the next Paper Mario game in like 3-4 years time being more like crafted into to what the standard of the last 10 years was, but then the one after that being more, okay, here's the true sequel to the Thousand Year Door kind of thing. And it's not, and it wouldn't be a case of, oh, they're not listening. It might just be a case of, like, they're testing the water, seeing what works, and also, like, making the games they want to, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Of appeasing both sides of things. So I think Paper Mario's future in general is bright, and I think there's a chance the next game doesn't immediately take after this one, but I don't think that's a cause for concern. Because I think they're asking the right questions. They clearly put enough into this game to say they know, they understand.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where I'm
agree.
at with it.
That sounds very logical to me, I think. And that's pretty much what I expect as well. I do think that the next game is going to sort of it's going to adopt this style at least and maybe build on it a little. I don't even know how you build on TTYD, but I'm sure they'll find a way.
At the very least, probably having, like, the variety of characters.
Yeah.
But it may not, like, push the story as much. So if we had, like, if the next game was more like a fusion of Origami King and this game, I think that'd be fine. But it wouldn't necessarily be what people want after this, so to say.
Yeah. I mean, the main beats that I'm after in Paper Mario is, well, 4 things, I guess, is the partner characters, the party members are so important to my experience, and I'm sure a lot of people's experience. And I've seen people who had never played TTYD before, like on the Reddit and stuff. Yeah. They've been saying, like, wow, I'm, like, blown away by how different this is. Like, it's nothing like the Paper Mario I'm used to, and I'm so glad, like, I get it now. I've seen so many people say that exact thing, like, I get it now, I understand why people love this so much. But yeah, and then, like, another thing is mechanics. Because TTYD has a lot of mechanics. So you take out all the partners, you still have plain mode, paper mode, all of that. Yep. You have the hammer, and there's just so much going on.
And then a whole RPG with that too. So
and then you have, like, the whole badge system and all of that. Like, there's so many mechanics. There's so much to experiment with. Right. And I think, like, when you really compare them, like, you can't honestly say that even Origami King has that level of depth. And I think that depth is what people like me and you are really after. Yeah. And then, like, the smaller things as well, like story, I think is important to a lot of people. I can't remember what my 4th one was. But yeah.
That's okay. No, but, like, you're absolutely correct there. Like, it's the idea of people are looking for different things out of the series, and the fans of TTYD are looking for what makes this game excel. It's what makes this game shine.
I'm gonna be selfish. I think the TTYD fans deserve a new game like this. We've had 3 new ones already. We've had 3 more on Paper Mario. Like, give us something. We deserve this. We've been waiting 20 years.
and this really is, like, the game after 20 years, and it's so
it
good.
Totally is.
It's so
I'm so happy with it.
Yeah, me too. And I definitely think it bodes well for Paper Mario's future. It may not be the defining future for it, but I think it is heavily going to play into its future again, which is good. Yeah. I do have one question for you about TTYD that we didn't bring up earlier, and I'll have on screen here as a little time skip, because spoiler warning here. I want to talk about the new content specifically. I want to talk about the new content. Yeah, and that's primarily the new super bosses and the 100% reward. Let's do the 100% reward really quick first, just because that's like a really quick thing. They really didn't have to do that, because the original game just didn't have anything like that. And I love that they did. It's such a nothing little badge, but it's cute, and I like that they did it.
Would you believe, okay, this is going to tie into the next conversation again, like, spoiler warning. Would you believe that there are people actually fighting in the 100% like category channel in the speedrun Discord over, like, what counts as 100%? We're gonna have a whole vote over it. It's so stupid.
Really?
Right now, it's so dumb. Like, people are arguing that it should be required to collect the items you get after completing the new content. You know what I mean? Like, you get the belt, for example, and then the other thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, people are saying, oh, we should require these, but they don't count towards getting that golden letter and the gold medal, and they, you know, it specifically counts recipes, badges, tattles. Yep. And so technically, all you really need to do, you don't have to actually beat those bosses, well, you have to beat one of them. You can't run away from one of them. But like for example, with the first one in mind, I don't know if we should like be saying the names already.
No, you can say it. We did the spoiler warning. If people don't want to know, they can skip past this part.
Okay, enough with the vagueness. Okay, so like with Mush, what we're probably gonna do, or what I'm gonna argue for at least, is being able to tattle him and then run away, because you don't actually have to fight him. You just need to tattle him.
Yeah, you just need to have
the 100% reward. Like for that letter and that badge, like you don't actually need to defeat him. And with Waka, you don't need to collect the golden bomb to get the reward. So that's kind of what we're arguing about at the moment. But anyway, yeah, like enough of that. My experience with it, I absolutely loved it. Oh my god, I loved it. I did get spoiled on Mush, unfortunately, by my Twitch chat.
Yeah, I see.
But like, it's something I kind of expected anyway. Like, I was skulking around that glitz pit. I was looking for him. I was searching, and then eventually, like, I accidentally, like, someone in my chat accidentally was like, "Oh, for Mush, you gotta do this." I'm like, "Wait a second, it actually exists." And then they were like, "Oh yeah, you have to go do the trouble." And like, I think it's fine that I was spoiled on that, because I wouldn't have gone and done the trouble myself anyway. I don't think, because by that point I was kind of just like, "Oh, the troubles like aren't necessary and they're not different, like they're not really getting anything new out of them." So after a while I did kind of just stop with them, especially because you can't take, if I could take more than one at a time, I probably would have done them all. But yeah, I eventually decided like, no, this is a waste of my time.
You're right, because like they don't really make it clear that you need to do that, other than the fact that, oh, I mean, it's a trouble by someone in the glitz pit. Maybe
that is such a big problem. They don't allude to the fact that this content even exists, and I think that's an issue. Like, it's fine for them to be secret, it's fine for the way you trigger them to be secret, it's even fine that you only get the email like 30 minutes after the triggers are met, like the criteria is met. That's okay, I don't mind that. It's the fact that like you don't even know that it exists. Like, the trouble that you need to complete, which is Jolene's, to get Mush, it's the exact same as the original. Absolutely nothing was changed. So, like, how realistically is a veteran player supposed to even know? Like, they've done that trouble before. They don't really need to see it again, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I really think, like, it should just be something that happens naturally, where her email comes in after, like, chapter, like, 4 or 5, where it's just clearly an amount of time after chapter 3.
Or even having you complete the glitz pit a second time, and then having the glitz pit be a little bit more challenging the second time around, because I was a little disappointed by that, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like, you don't actually even, like, they didn't add anything to it, they didn't do anything with the glitz pit, and I was kind of expecting them to. I was kind of expecting them to make Mush a hidden boss at the end of the second run of the glitz pit, and they did make him a secret boss, but then they didn't do that, and I was like,
I was thinking, I was thinking maybe we would have, like, a different version of the glitz pit. Maybe it's like, instead of 20, now it's like 50. So it adds even more in. Maybe it adds in like boss rematches. Like, specifically as like a post-game version, it's like bosses that aren't inherently evil. Like maybe Dupless is there, for example, and you can challenge him. Or
he's
like
his,
Rockhawk has
his
like an even stronger fight. Heck, you had the whole thing with the Yoshi kid. Oh, he's entering it as a Great Gonzalez Jr. Let me see that. Cool. Let me challenge him. Let me have like a fight where he's not in your party and you have to fight him.
That would be so cool.
It would have been really cool to see them push that a bit more. Like, I think it's one area where it's a missed opportunity to be able to do a lot more kind of like loving content, like that really like would be really charming to have. I understand it's the idea of that might be like just too much extra work.
Yeah, it would have been a lot of work.
But I do think it would have been something that makes that adds really incentive to doing it again. Also, let me have a toggle on and off for wearing the champion's belt or not, please. That was
true.
Like,
come
on.
True. As soon as they showed Mario wearing it, I was like, oh, we actually get to wear it? That means I'll do the glitz pit again and I can wear it all the time. No, it's just for that cutscene. Thanks.
I wish you could wear it all the time. I wish you could. That would have been so good.
I was so charmed by it. Thank you for letting me wear it for half a second.
But
System was very cute.
So, Super Boss though. Mush.
Oh yeah. Back on track.
Yeah, back on track. I love what they did with that fight. Like, I think it's so good. And you see why he's the original champion.
Yes.
I love that it really plays into the core battle system of TTYD and like the core mechanics. It makes you Super Guard.
Yep.
And I love that.
It's great. it's so good. I just it made me really appreciate Prince Mush as a character more too. Like I came out of that whole thing like, wow, he's actually in like my top 5 favorite characters.
Nice.
Suddenly, for no reason. Like he's such a good little guy. I love him.
I like how when you think about it, the only reason why he lost at all is because Rockhawk poisoned.
Yeah.
Rockhawk poisoned him with cake,
yeah.
and that probably made Grubba able to get him. That's it.
Yeah. It's so good, dude. I was so happy that they actually did it.
Mm-hmm.
I did see some people saying that Prince Mush was like alluded to as something that was scrapped from the original. I don't know how true that actually is. It's just something I heard and something people were saying.
Yeah.
But like, either way, it's just great. It's so good. It proves that like they care about these characters. They care about the story and the world that they've made and the narrative and. Oh, I just love Prince Mush. He's so good.
I do think he was an intended idea, since Jolene's email is the same in the original, where she mentions, he's training, he's planning a comeback. And I feel like that is almost like it's alluding to something, and I think that's why here in the remake they specifically build off of that email being a prerequisite.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it's something they wanted to do originally. And speaking of wanting to do originally, the other super boss was originally an enemy, or was an intended enemy of the original Paper Mario game.
And
that's essentially 200 levels of the Pit Hunter Trials to get Waka.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw like my little reaction video to it, where I kind of thought it might be the cut enemies of like the little screamies that like Luigi has.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was gonna be again. We talked about this in the last video we did. I thought it was gonna be the big guy with the
weird like robot thing.
Face. I keep forgetting his name because I don't know.
Yeah, like the weird robot thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be that because the whole email is like, oh, this creature is thought to be extinct. And I was like, oh, that's a cute little way of them saying like, you know, it never existed and like it's not known of because like it was never actually in the original. I was like, I got it, and then I was telling my chat, I know what it is, guys. Like I have a really good idea, and then I got to the bottom, I was like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah.
I was so caught off guard. I did not see it coming at all.
I had like slight like the word extinct made me think maybe it is Waka since Waka's gone now. But
my brain didn't even put that together at all. Which is honestly, I think it's better to be surprised. It makes it really, really hard to guide people to fight this thing. Because like I had a couple of friends who, I had this friend, we were playing and he was looking for it, and then he was like, oh, can you just give me like some kind of hint? I was like, no, not really, because if I tell you what to do, you're gonna know immediately. And then he was like, I tried to guide him by saying, oh, you're gonna need to prepare with a lot of like really easy to get FP and HP items. You could just get some Wacko Bombs. Like, that's really easy and quick. You don't have to cook anything. And he was like, well, I have a lot of Jelly Ultras and I want to keep Waka on my file. I was like, no. And then
well, you can't.
he killed Waka and then was like, well, it didn't do anything. And then reset. And I was like, no. I was like, no. How could you do this to me?
Oh,
it was actual agony. And then afterwards we laughed about it really hard. But like at the time, I was just like, no, why would you reset? Like, you had it. You don't even know you had it.
That's so funny.
That's one of the reasons why, like, I get why they had to make it so ambiguous, because it is a really big surprise and it's great when you're not seeing it coming. But
I think I just wish it didn't require hitting him, like making him stop appearing at Kialki, because if you didn't already do that, it kind of becomes obvious that's what it is.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, or even like some of the other Paper Mario games, when you get rid of Waka, there's somebody standing there, like talking about, like, oh, like the Waka's not here anymore. I kind of wish we had that again, because then it's a matter of, oh, other people know that it's gone. Maybe it's someone out for vengeance against the Waka.
Oh yeah, true.
Like so something to make it less obvious would have been nice.
Either way, even though it is a little like iffy about like how you activate it and stuff, I was still absolutely floored. I was just like sitting there for a good 10-20 seconds saying, what the F? Like, what the, oh my god. And then the theme too, what?
It did not need to go that hard. It did not need to go that hard, but it's so funny. It's so good.
Funny.
And I'm really glad both of these fights don't feel unfair. They're very well choreographed. Like what you need to do is made very apparent to you, especially if you tap.
They're very unique.
They really are, and I appreciate that. Is it more? Is it necessarily more difficult than like Gloomtail? Not necessarily. Kind of depends on your ability to supercard. But I really appreciate how they felt unique, like you said. Like they feel unique to this game, and they don't just feel like, okay, well, here's just another HP tank boss where it has 200 HP.
Exactly,
have fun. Like they did something interesting with it.
Yeah. I kind of wish there was more of that in TTYD. I know why I get why they didn't like change all of the bosses and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, but at the same time, I don't know. Like even Macho Grubber is kind of cool because he has that whole thing going on where he's like constantly buffing and like giving himself status effects and stuff. And I wish there was a bit more of that because it just makes the fights feel more fun and interesting. And like, I don't know. I think for the next game maybe they could focus a little bit more on making the bosses feel more. Because like even with Origami King, they have the bosses feel like mini games, almost like puzzles you have to solve in order to beat them. And I think that does work quite well, but maybe not so much for the Origami King's gameplay. Like it's just a little tedious and annoying.
It's funny because we have that to a degree with Hooktail, where the Hooktail fight is very hard if you don't use, or comparatively much harder if you don't use the right badge. And I kind of feel like they definitely could have played into that a bit more. And maybe we can ask for that in the future, of actually playing into that idea more of,
go
having...
to Shikimomo, be like, alright, give me my fun little TTYD battles with little puzzles and quirks, please, thank you.
Yeah, there we go. Like, it's... Because there's definitely, like, fun little things you could do with that. Like, imagine if the other dragons also had some sort of weakness to them, or, like... like we have like enemies like, oh, this enemy is weaker to ice attacks, this enemy is weaker to explosions. So it's like, well, we can play around with that a little bit more.
Yeah, like that is, like the elemental weakness is a thing in T2D, and it is like quite prevalent. You just don't like, you never really have to care about it. Like, you never really have to strategize around it, and I think that's a bit of a shame. Yeah, this new content, amazing. So happy with it.
Very good. And
especially being surprised.
Yeah.
It was just such a good experience.
I'm so glad it wasn't just refight stronger versions of older bosses.
Same.
Like, it was new. And
like, that would have been fine, too.
Yeah.
But...
No, like, that would have been great. That, like, I would have been satisfied with that. The fact that it was something new, like, blew me away and made me, like, very excited about it.
Yeah, it's just kind of wild to actually being able to experience something new in the Thousand Year Door. Like, you don't... That doesn't happen every day.
No.
It's like I know everything about T2D probably. That you could ask me any question, I could probably answer it. But now, like, suddenly we have something actually brand new that I've never experienced before. It's a really surreal feeling.
It is, and you don't normally get that with 20-year-old games unless it's like something crazy like Final Fantasy VII Remake, where it's like a whole like a whole reimagining of it.
And that's why I really didn't want to be spoiled either, because, like, again, you only get to experience this once.
Yep. Exactly.
I don't know.
With that, the spoiler warning is now over, so people can tune back in now.
I do have one more question written down for you, and it's okay. So I've gotten like really back, I think you've seen, into creating fan-made party members and stuff like that. And it's something you would see a lot on the internet around, like the big T2ID Super Paper Mario hype is like a lot of like fan-made party members, like partner characters. So what is your dream Paper Mario partner character? If you could have anything, what would you do, and like what would the mechanics be?
It's like digging back in my mind like 15 years ago now. I had this idea of a puny as a partner that can get into small places, and it was like I think the idea, because this was back when like people had ripped all the sprites, so I can like play around with like the visuals and just like create one. So it was a puny that had sunglasses and like one of Bowser's like spike bracelets as like almost like worn like a necklace, and his name was like Spunky. Like he was like a punky little puny that wanted to explore, but his whole thing is he can get into small places, so you would like actually like control it to like solve little puzzles instead of Tube Mario.
Yeah, it's funny because I had like quite literally the same idea, but with a Rex instead. Like,
the Rex squishes down and
yeah, you would like ride around on him and then you could squish down. It looked like the animation for Spring Mode or like Spring Jump.
I love that.
But like he squishes down like a piece of like paper, and then you could like run underneath things. Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
So, like it's
what
kind of
specifically?
a combination between Oh,
what
sorry.
specifically gave me the idea was the pixel Dottie in Super Paper Mario.
Yeah.
Because the shrinking down. That's what it was. That's what reminded me of that. Sorry, continue though.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like yeah, my idea was kind of just like a combination of Yoshi, then like the spring spring jump mode. I don't know what to call that, and then like also paper mode because it's like a horizontal paper mode. Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think I love that. I love the fact that we're at a point where we could talk about like fun party member ideas because we're at a point where hopefully we can actually see Nintendo doing something again with these like creative takes on these traditional Mario characters.
It seems like they're like heading in that direction at least. Like they're playing with the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Please.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like I really hope.
I don't know if you can ever really beat the Yoshi code, but like, you know, go off, try.
Man, yeah, you would need something just as customizable that you can also name. And there's only so many options you can do at that point. Other than Yoshi. Like a Shy Guy or something. Like a Shy Guy with different colors, or a Birdo or something. There's only so much you could do.
I want to talk about the concept art.
Yes, I do have that on here as something to potentially talk about. Is like any fun notes from the concept art.
Flavio, he's white.
Yes.
Why is he white? What is that? What? I was so confused. I was like pointing at my screen.
That was such a funny moment in your streams. I was there when that happened. That was so funny. I love that we can see how Flavio used to be a toad. And I want to see the steps. I want to see the steps of how he went from Toad to whatever he is now.
What is that?
But I do think it's really interesting to see that for a bunch of characters, not even just the party members.
Oh, and we did get, this is something that you said you wanted to see in our last video, we got Bobbery. Like, and they actually put the sprite in there.
They literally put the exact sprite in like I asked for. That's so funny.
And as soon as I saw that, I thought of you. I was like, oh, they're going to be happy.
But I love how, like, how many different ways we saw, like, the different party member ideas. Like, the two that really come to mind are, like, Vivian and Bobbery. Because there were so many different ideas for them that I think... They
cycled so many.
It makes me wonder if the idea... Because one of the original ideas for the Shadow Sirens, or the Three Shadows, was, like, they were, like, little cheat ghosts. And it makes me wonder if that went on to Dupless. If they were first.
Yeah.
But it's great to see this because you think, after 20 years, you think you know everything about the game, and it's like, wow, look at these early ideas. And I'm sure for you, it comes up with a lot of like new like art ideas, like, ooh, like what if they did do this character this way?
I've just been thinking like non-stop about it. Honestly, it's so wild. Again, like to just see these characters in a new way, in a new light that you would never have even thought. And it's crazy. It's so crazy. And obviously we'd had a little sneak peek at the chapter 4 one with Dupless and Flurry for some reason. Yeah, like Flurry, what? I guess she was supposed to originally appear in chapter 4 because like she has like a little raven variant thing as well, like a crow thing.
Yeah, she might have originally been planned for chapter 4, and maybe chapter 3 might have been. They might have originally had the idea of giving Vivian to you right after the battle or something. I don't know, but.
No, I don't know.
I love the glimpse at the concept art we got. I wish there was a bit more with the characters, like some like the various NPCs. Like I would have loved to see the steps they took for the Pianta Mafia, for example, because there's a little like Monty Mo Mafia in there as well.
Yeah,
and
oh
I'm
my God.
I want to see what other ideas went into that. I want to see how they got to different things. I don't think we have like the progression for like Goombella, for example. Or even like Rockhawk, like how did they come up with Rockhawk? Like all we have is this weird concept art of him like hunched over.
I love Stanced Up Rockhawk. I was crying laughing at that for like a whole 5 minutes. Like why? He looks like that one meme of Danger Mario, that like, drawing of him with all the badges on. He's like super buff.
Yeah,
it's exactly like that. I was crying laughing at it.
It's really funny, but it's one of those like I love that we got this at all because it is a huge deal. But I do wish we had a little bit more because a lot of the concept art is the remake's take on the different locations and how they like even like built up some of these, and I do love that. I do love
yeah,
seeing
like,
that.
don't get me wrong,
But I wish
love
we
it.
had a little bit more of like the steps taken for designing some of these original characters.
Definitely. Like, it was so cool to see, like, how Hooktail originally looked. Hooktail is crazy. And then we did get Koops as well. We got, like, the sketches of Koops. And
Yeah, we had like, the little like, shell backpack.
His shell was originally a little backpack. It's the cutest thing ever. And, like, there's a little... I don't know if it's meant to be Koops or not, but there's one with, like, a little ducky in a tube and, like, a snorkel. Oh, he should have been in the game. And then, like, we have...
It's great to see these little ideas from, like especially like Hooktail's one where it's like, it might have been before they decided on the paper aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like, and it's kind of great to see.
It looks like it.
It's so cool.
I'm looking through them as we speak, just to see if I can find anything fun to talk about. But like, yeah, it looks like they have Scarlet in here, in Barbara's sketches. It kind of looks that way. I think so.
Because I was thinking, like, I remember we had like Mayor Kroot, or we had like the mayor of Petalburg and his wife, and I was like, oh, I wish we had something with Scarlet. I didn't realize they had Scarlet in there.
I don't know if it is or not, to be fair. Like, don't quote me on that, but like,
it might just be an early Bobbery design.
yeah, Bobbery trans, I guess, as well.
Building off the idea of Bombette originally, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I would have appreciated if, like, in Bobbery's house, like the Mayor of Petalburg, if we had like a picture of Scarlet and then like actual sprite for her. I would have loved that. But I also understand in his character's case that that's some tough memories. So
yeah, like pulling out the concept like, hey Bobbery, look at this. You're gonna love this. Oh my god, the businessman Ratui, how he used to look is so funny. His little mouth, he looks so cute.
So goofy looking. No, I love what we've learned from the concept art. It's such a great glimpse into it all. And seeing like the dates next to some of them too is actually really cool.
Like,
seeing,
oh my god, a couple of my friends were
cycle.
playing. A couple of my friends were playing, and one of them was like, wow, this was drawn before I was even born. I was like, oh my god, wild to me.
Oh, man.
Oh, another thing as well, before we get off the concept topic, there is some, other than just the characters, like, some of the art style directions they were thinking of going in as well. Like, there's that really, really nice, just whole painted picture of Mario and Kill Bill Key with this really nice art style, and like, this like watercolor thing going on as well as some of them. I feel like, I don't know if that was meant for the remake or if that was an original concept for the GameCube version, but yeah, like, it's
I've
nice
noticed most of the GameCube concepts for locations look more like they were like pencil sketches for like the different locations. Which I guess, when you think about like the amount of time, I guess, early 2000s, that would have made sense. But some of them were definitely like there were some like really interesting ideas that they didn't end up pushing too much, probably because they couldn't make the areas that big. Because some of them look like they all would have been really huge areas.
I'm a little angry at how well these people can draw crystal stars. How did they do that? What the hell? They look so neat. Anyways, yeah, concept art's amazing. So glad that it's a thing. Like, I feel like before this point, before TTYD, I understood why concept art was fun and like why art books were fun, but I feel like I've never really fully understood the big deal about it until now. Like, now I get it. Now it's like, wow, this is my favorite thing, and there are things I never knew about it. They're just here now. Like, I understand. Finally.
Finally get to look at it and see, yeah, I get it now.
Yeah, like, if they made, like, an art book for T2D, I'd be all over it. And usually I don't care about art books. Like, well, I do. I think they're fun and cute, and, like, I get the novelty, but, like, I never really understood. Like, it's fine, it's fun, I guess, but now I'm like, wow, I would need that.
No, I definitely get that. This gave us a great taste of that. I wish it was more, but I don't think we're getting more than what we have here. And I'm glad we at least have it, though.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, before we wrap up, because we've definitely been going for a while here.
Oh, yeah.
Any final thoughts about this game? Like, in general, like, how would you say, like, would you go back to the original, or is this your definitive version now, so to say?
I think personally, I don't think anything can really replace the original for me, because it's just like, it's so special to me, and, you know, even with the speedrunning stuff as well, like, that's obviously a big part of it, but like, I think for me, they are hand in hand. They stand alongside each other. But like from a replayability casual perspective, there's no reason to go back to the original. Like just play this one. It's so. I don't know. Like you can play the original if you want. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not gonna tell you not to, but like there's just so much added to this. So much new to look at. It looks incredible. Like even all of my speedrunner friends. They're just like, wow, this is beautiful. It looks so good. It looks so much better. And like, I never really expected to feel that way.
Yeah.
Like, before this was announced, I had always been a firm believer, like, TTYD has aged so well, it doesn't need a remake. They couldn't make it look any better than this. The art style is perfect. But now I'm like, well, I was wrong.
Yeah.
I guess.
I completely agree. I was in the same feeling. So actually getting what we have is so surprising. Because I'm right there with you. Like, I think casually, I mean, this game has everything in the original and more. And from a casual experience, this practically is the definitive version of the game. In terms of like veteran players and people that are more into the smaller nuances of this game, I completely understand wanting to go back to the original.
Then
like speed up the text, like especially with like the small grievances we had, the small criticisms that do affect things from it being like the perfect 10 out of 10, so to say.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's a fantastic game, and it's more than everything I could have asked for with it.
I think it's a 10 out of 10 game, a 9.8 out of 10 remake.
I think that's exactly how I would put it. I think that's exactly how I would put it. I wouldn't get too nuanced into the decimal, so I would do 9.5. But just because I don't want to do like the every individual decimal, so I'll do.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of just memeing. You know what I mean?
Like, so there you go. 10 out of 10 game, 9.5 out of 10 specifically is a remake factor. But it's beautiful to be able to be talking about this game in this way.
Yeah.
Okay. Never thought it would have happened.
So pleasantly surprised, and like my partner keeps saying, like I'm so glad that it was good. I'm so glad that you can be so happy with this. Like it's just, I guess like when you love something this much, you're very precious about it. You're very protective over it.
Yep.
And to have it actually meet all of my expectations and more, it's a once in a lifetime thing. Like you just don't get this, especially. Yeah. I think that I really think that boring era of Nintendo is over now. I think I can actually start enjoying things again.
We are indeed like fully out of the 2010s at this point.
Oh,
yes.
God. See you later.
Yeah.
Give us a new Mario Kart now.
Oh yes, sometime soon. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for our discussion here. So, Muz, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you at?
Well, you can find me at MuzYoshi everywhere. Everywhere I'm there. I'm lurking in the walls. I'm just MuzYoshi. Yeah, I don't know. Check out my YouTube if you want to see like cool TTYD speedrunning stuff. I upload like little clips and things.
The VODs of your playthrough.
On my Twitter. Yeah, I have my whole playthrough up there. I draw Paper Mario stuff all the time. I never shut up about this game, so I don't know. You don't have to follow me if you don't want to, but I'm right there if you want. I'd like it very much.
Well, we'll make sure to include links in the description on where to find you so people can follow you and check out all of your stuff. But with that, thank you all so much for joining and listening to our hype-filled review, I guess, discussion
I
of
guess
Paper
it was
Mario.
kind of a review.
Yeah, and the main question for you viewers is, have you guys been enjoying the game as much as we have? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to GameXplain for plenty more on Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. I'll never get tired of saying that one. And other things gaming as well, of course. Until next time, farewell everyone.
See you later.